Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Tonight, coming from the studios live here in Suva, we have the Minister for Home Affairs and Immigration, Pio Tikoduadua, is our guest. Mr. Tikoduadua, thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Well, Vijay.
And we are glad that you're back. Of course, you were here a few months ago and promised that you'll be back after things have developed, and we'll go straight into it because you also have sent a lot of questions, and we will try to ask as many questions as possible, issues that matter to you. And the first one, in relation to this Fiji National Security and Defence Review, a report that you launched yesterday, Minister, a review carried out by a team chaired by former senior Fijian military officer James Sandy. And the first question on trust. It has come out in the findings. Trust has been highlighted as a serious issue, whether it be trust with the security agencies, whether it's trust with the government institutions. First, the report states that trust in our security forces has eroded over the years following each coup, and the 2013 Constitution has not really helped restore trust by widening the mandate of the RFMF under Section 1312, which introduced a guardian role for the military, and also on top of that giving immunity to those who conducted coups. What is the government and RFMF's plans to change this?
Thank you, Vijay. First of all, before I answer that question, let me say, I'm glad to be back, and thank you for the invitation to come here today on Straight Talk. Yes, we're talking here about the findings of the National Security Defence Review team led by Mr. James Sandy, as you said. The report in itself is actually quite comprehensive. I like the report because I think it's very honest, and it tells us the truth about, what we are and where we are right now in terms of national security and defense. And that was really the purpose behind that, this exercise, to have the committee, have us really look well at us, look at ourselves well in the mirror, okay? What we look like and what we are supposed to be. So, context of the report, I think that has really brought that out well, in terms of in terms of our security agencies, in terms of the threats that face Fiji, and what we need to do, from here onwards. Now, to the trust factor. Trust has come out, the loss of trust. The loss of trust in government institutions, and also the loss of trust in our security agencies, particularly in the military, the RFMF, and in the police. Is one of perhaps the core finding of this report. And the government needs to take steps, and we have taken steps well before this report to try and restore that trust. The restoration is the biggest challenge, and it's at the center of what we are doing right now. And the people of Fiji, particularly those that came forward, more than the 55 odd institution representative organizations, individuals, have come forward to speak their mind honestly. And they've all, when talking about, particularly our security institutions, have been very honest about their views, and that due to the coup, as you said, from 1987, 2000, 2006, has eroded the trust of our people and our nation on the institutions that really should be looking after, particularly the fundamentals of their human rights. That's one of the basic, the very basic things that they believe should be the responsibility of these institutions. So with everything that has happened, that trust, according to the report and what the people say, has been lost. So we're talking about restoration. One of the greatest things that has come out of this NSDR process is that it has spoken, the team has gone to RFMF, has gone to the police, has gone out there to civil society, and posed this question honestly to them. And they have come up with their own answers with respect to where they see, where they are today and what has led to that. And for the RFMF in particular, I'm very thankful in that sense, because over the last 2 years, from the work that we have been doing, we have been trying really to do just that. Realign our security agencies for the role at which that they should be playing. And I have not minced my word about this in the past. They have to be apolitical. They have to respond to the law and to the law alone, the law that governs the work that they should be doing, the protection, of the liberties and the well-being of our people. All of those things have influenced the way that people feel about this institution, and thus the outcome of this report. So, in this same report, because you talked about what we will do, it has come up with some key recommendations. And the important thing is to take these recommendations through the National Security Strategy, which is the process we're doing right now, to come out in December, to make sure that we set a framework that this is going to be implemented inclusively of all of our agencies together. And that process has already started. And one major factor which the committee had recommended in the report is proper resourcing. And that's what we will be fighting for, because it's pointless coming up with all these ideas and the framework if at the end of the day government does not have the commitment to fund it, to make it work.
Now, each of the past coups have led to sharp contractions in our gross domestic product. We have been affected economically. 5 steps forward, 10 steps back. A significant jump in migration after each coup, an extended period of military rule where rifts between communities were widened and democratic accountability eroded, as you said. The militarization of the public service has had a deep and lasting impact on the nation's political culture, economy, and the quality of governance we have. We have always gone backwards. What is being done to ensure we don't have this again?
Thank you. I think I'll start first from the government. The government on the mandate, particularly the government that we have, the coalition government, the mandate upon which it was elected, had campaigned strongly on the rule of law and aligning, institutions that have been responsible for the coup to re-examine themselves, to be re-examined and re-looked at, so that these institutions are not going to be used again in the future for anything like 1987, 2000 or 2006. Vijay, a coup is bad. Irrespective of whatever the reasonings that people sold it for at the beginning, it is bad. I've said many times, no more coup. Okay, now. And looking at the factors that contributed to that, and it's all, it's wide and deep, it's varying, for the many different reasons, why coups happened. But I think central to that, and where this issue of trust lies, is the RFMF. Okay. Because in the past, people other than soldiers themselves or officers in the RFMF have been used you know, for the political gain and for the political will of people who want to achieve their own political ends. Now, when we came in 2022, I had some very frank discussions with the commander of the RFMF and the RFMF institution in itself, the commissioner of police at the time, and the police, talking about this exactly. They must realign themselves to the core role of these institutions under a democratic framework. So you talked about the militarization of the civil service. You talked about the effects of coups. Okay. No coup in Fiji since 1987 has occurred without the intervention or the use of the whole or part of the RFMF by people who have used it. But Vijay, I tell you, we did a lot of work. And here I must acknowledge, especially the work of the commander and the senior officers of the RFMF. The strong and decisive leadership that General Koloniwai has brought to the table, understanding, his role, understanding the role of that institution, and working through the processes. And I tell you, it is not simple. Because here you're talking about transformation. This is not instant. Okay? It is not instant. Trying to transform the mindset of people, and as you said, from 1987 to now. How many years is that? Okay. How do you change that mindset of people to know that it's not their purpose to take over governments? This is something you reinstill slowly. So, take this report for instance. We have the independent lead of the review, Mr. Jim Sendier. He was number 2 at the time. But the Prime Minister has invited him to come back and do this. And that's actually quite symbolic. I think I discussed this with you last time. He was like the last man standing with the royal standard. And he left with it. So him coming back symbolically signifies that we want a proud defense force, we want a proud police force that responds to the law, performs their functions according to the law, and is not one that people will use in the future, to take over power at the time that they want. I just want to talk very quickly here about some of the initiatives that the command is doing with the RFMF and the different institutions that have tried to assist him through the leadership framework. They're doing that right now in Nandi. I've attended one of them in one of these sessions where I have sat in as the minister. This is actually quite a process, because you're trying to change the way people think. They're doing this reconciliation and restoration, trying to come to terms with the ills of the past. The soldiers and the officers are looking at themselves, they're looking at the country. And then, when you have the commander who have his intention and he says at the end of the day, we, RFMF, our role is to align ourselves with the government of the day and the rule of Parliament and the people. He made that declaration more than a year ago. And that is what they've been trying to do up to now. And we are thankful for so many people that have helped us to do that. And I'm very thankful, particularly, and I say again, the decisive leadership of the commander and the RFMF to try and recreate, rejuvenate, retransform these very important organizations for our national security to head it back into the path where it was before 1987.
Interesting, and we'll talk about the commander, about some of the comments he's made. People have said about the 2000 coup leader, George Speight, also released now, and questions that have been said, this may encourage uncertainty and instability, leading to people thinking that it's okay to remove a democratically elected government. Your thoughts on that?
George Speight being released, through the Mercy Commission is a process in the law enshrined in the 2013 Constitution. He has come through, he has applied, and I think the Mercy Commission had made with certain recommendations to the President, on the conditions of how he was going to be released. Vijay, the law is the law. I fully understand people's feelings, and I do not, I cannot disagree with them in the way that they feel, because that's the way that they feel. But at the end of the day, there is a lawful process in place that allows a person, and it goes through such a vigorous process to make sure that a particular person who has been incarcerated, convicted, and in this case George Speight, has been gone through that process. And the Mercy Commission believes, through the evidence that they have and through the applications, through talking to people and all that, that he is fit to go back into society. Yeah. The bit about coup, I said that every part of the coup of the past has got RFMF in it. No coup will be successful without that kind of intervention. So I think we should concentrate, I should concentrate really, on the institution that people exploit for their own expediency. And that's what we are doing right now. And he is entitled to that, he has applied, and the Commission has found it fit to recommend to the President for mercy.
A question about military. You've been in the military, and you were in the military when some of the coups took place. What was the military mindset then compared to now? And do you think things could have been avoided based on that, and based on this review, what can be done going forward? You've highlighted some of the issues, but definitely there's a certain mindset that existed in the military when you were there.
Yeah. You see, for the coups that 1987 happened before I joined, and I joined immediately afterwards. 1988 I joined. I think it was 5 months afterwards, and I got commissioned in December 1988. That was for a completely personal reason at the time, except I've always wanted to be an officer. I wanted peeps on my shoulders. I love the uniform. I believe that there are many good things I could get out of it. 2000 was a completely different story, because that happened when I was right there. So I sat through it, and then I sat through, I was in QB during the attempted mutiny in 2000, November, and then all the ensuing events. I was away in 2006, I came back in 2007, and I came in when it was already going on. You see, in the military, command is everything. Command is everything. And we make arguments about what is a lawful command, what is not a lawful command. We talk about discernment. Yeah. Soldiers at the end of the day do not have these luxuries, they trust their leaders. At the end of the day, how people get persuaded, usually, for instance, in 2000, the element that went there was rogue. They were rogue, and there has to be some certain element of rogueness, which is why, if you look at the core finding of this report, professionalism is at the center of their recommendation for all of these institutions. It's a different level of professionalism in the military, or what is a professional institution, what is a professional police force. So I think education is the biggest thing here, because particularly leaders and commanders that command must understand first their role and what they can and cannot do. Okay? they should not share in the politics of those that come to try and persuade them. Okay? That is not their job. That is not their role. Okay? I mean, I'm not totally exempted for that because, I became part of those my role when I was in the military in the coups that I told you, or after the coup when I came in. But it's still a bad thing, The soldier is, particularly the leader, because everything rests in the leader. The leader is called the shot. It's the leaders that must understand the law, be professional about it, and then to make sure that they do not succumb to these things ever again in the future. And that's one of the best things that the commander is doing right now. The mindset of the soldier is the soldier, Soldiering is exciting, it's exciting. They follow orders. Right or wrong, they follow orders, and still the subject to a lot of debate. But I think going forward, what you want in the mindset of soldiers and leaders of the future is they need to know that professional soldiers and officers, their roles are defined. And there's left and right of works to follow. Nobody can just come in and say, I need to use you for this. No, they must realize that that is not the role that they should be playing.
Which happened in 2022 when the commander, since then he has come out and some people did try to influence him after the elections in 2022 when the results did not go their way. When will the new police commissioner be appointed? We've had an acting commissioner since January last year.
Okay,
You're not the appointing authority, but still.
Oh, no, I'm not. I have a part to play though. Like last time, I think you asked me this question. So I'm waiting for, okay, let me tell you where I think it is, that I've been told it is. The applications have closed. They're going through the process of vetting these applications. And hopefully, they get to that process where they will inform me under the Constitution that these are the people that they, or the person that they would like, who fits the bill well. And that's when we make the appointment, hopefully soon.
Well, the nation is waiting. If we dilly-dallying on an important position of a commissioner of police, with the situation that we are facing as a nation at the moment with crime, drugs and everything else that we'll talk about after this, not having a substantive appointment made definitely would be concerning for you as a minister.
Oh yes, it is. A commissioner of police, a substantive commissioner is essential. Let me show you, Vijay, in terms of the reform, so we talked about Restore Blue. That was the first step that I took. And Restore Blue just means take away the green and reinstate the blue. And you know what I mean, because of all of the influences of the past. Okay, that's what we did. Now, we've gone even further. We have a police reset. With all of the trust issues that has been raised, and that we all know, we all have our different levels of experiences about this. We find it fit to reset the clock, which means that you really need to reestablish standards again, so that there is no doubt about standards. I can tell you right now on my table is sitting the policy guidance for the new commissioner. It's been sitting there for a while. And we have already speaking to our partners who are ready now with people to come in and help. And as soon as they get me the new police commissioner, we'll be on our way.
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I am Vijay Narayan. We'll be back after this break.
Oh my gosh! Oh, what's in the box?
You're probably wondering, what's in the box? Well, if you must know, it's actually me. Before you call the police, I'm actually an app. The all-new Fiji Village app. Here's an update. See what I did there? I gave you an update. What's new? Well, for starters, I look different. My new layout also comes with stories if you're looking for something short and sweet. I will bring you the latest news on the dot so you stay updated. You're welcome. You don't have to go anywhere for content because I bring the content to you. Not only can you listen to your favorite radio stations, you can also watch online video content. Which reminds me, do you love sports? Well, guess what? With the Fiji Village app, you can stay up to date with your favorite sports and scoreboards, no matter where you are. Your #1 news website just got better with an app. Download and get updated now.
क्या आप भी परेशान हैं?
जी करता है यार, तुम लोग कुछ समझ में नहीं आए। अंधार में रहेगा, कट जिया जगह कौन जाएगा भरी।
If I could turn back time, if I could find a way.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Sick and tired of hearing all these people talk about what's the deal with this pop life and when is it gonna fade out? The sun is fading away.
If I could reach the stars,
Bum, 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 bum. I don't know the rest of the words.
I'd give them all to you.
As the June light turns to moonlight. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. Loving you is all I ever need. Making love with you is all good.
I take back those words that hurt you, and you'd stay.
Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan and our guest tonight is the Minister for Home Affairs and Immigration, Pio Tikoduadua. Mr. Tikoduadua, the overall crime rate has increased by 28% during the month of September this year when compared to the same period last year. There have been increases, serious crime up by 6%, crimes against children up by 8%, the number of illicit drug cases registered increased by about 9% and continues to increase. 28% rise, very concerning. What is being done about it?
Much of these statistics, Vijay, born out of reports made to the police and the rest just the police made it. So I'm glad in that area the police is, they're working the police to do their work. The greatest area is prevention, to prevent these crimes from happening. Because when these crimes are committed, particularly crimes against children, it speaks a volume of our society. So there's no policeman who will be there all the time watching over someone that's looking after a kid, particularly their relatives or somebody. And the onus really is on, on society in itself in all of its level. To go out there, and this is what we're praying for every kind of crime that's being committed, whether it's against child or women or drugs, it is committed within the framework of a community where, this thing is committed. It is where a group of people live, and there's some organization there are parents, there are churches, there are vanuas. All these crimes occur within those boundaries, okay? And government, also included. But, it's unfortunate, the only arm of the police that's looking at prevention mostly is community policing, and we do this extensively. And at the moment, our focus is on drugs, and they're doing a lot of great work with civil society. The number of policemen and, different groups going out there every night to try and educate, They go in one night to a particular community. Unfortunately, they come back that same night, something always happens. So what is this telling about us? I think this is something, crime is something that we is something that we must all take ownership of as a community. You know, we were discussing something at the NSDR, and I raised this issue about, you know, human rights versus omission. People who omit to act when knowingly know that something is wrong. You know, what are the human rights violations that occurs to that? So we were talking about security forces and how they were used at the time, you know, because of the acts that they do. Okay, but what about omission? Now, omission is when society just lets it go. Society does not report, you know, that society does not condone, or that society, in a way, because of their silence, condone these things, you know. So here becomes the central element of a lot of these things where people do not report crimes. We want people to report crimes because that's the honest truth about what's happening. Okay. Obviously, different crimes occur for different reasons. A lot of it is social, economic, some of it may be political. Okay. But these are things that the police alone cannot do. You know, we are investing a lot of time trying to educate community. Stay away from drugs. Don't do drugs, you know. We say this all the time, we say this all the time. How many more times do you think we should say it? Because we keep saying it every day. It's the only thing we can say. At the same time also, we're trying to, you know, we're beefing up our capabilities. The police reset is going to look after this in a big way. Technological advancement is one way we are going. You know, we have to rewrite our laws to give more powers to the police, allow us, you know, to keep track of everybody, particularly in the different areas of crime there are, be it cyber, be it transnational, you know, be it be about drugs, be things like murder, which are family related and all that stuff. But we are working hard at it, you know. And the more cases that are reported to me suggest that people, you know, are coming back with confidence, even though this trust has been lost. Yeah. But as a society as a whole, including government, we must try and create a situation where we restore, particularly national security, where the well-being of people are looked after. A good government looks after the well-being of the people. And when they are looked after well, then, you know, the chances of committing crime are going to be lessened. Okay. The more idle the people, the greater the opportunity to do. Idleness is, you know, is a contributing factor. So many of these petty crimes, you know, so they add up to the numbers that they are. But I can assure you, in terms of prevention, that's what we are doing. Police are going out every night and everywhere through their public campaign, working with civil society. I just, you know, I pose this challenge again out there to our society. Let's all come together, you know. Let's not leave these things, you know. Let's not turn a blind eye of something that's happening around you, you know, in your community, in your neighborhood. You know. Before something happens, please report it, you know.
Let's talk about drugs. Drugs, earlier this year, you know, in the drug symposium, and even before that, a strong statement also made by the Army Commander, classified drugs as a national security issue, as it can even weaken governance. Based on your assessment, do you think we are doing enough in dealing with the drugs crisis in the country? Because at the time, the commander said the RFMF can get involved now through the legal process, and even if the use of firearms is needed, knowing that we're going into dangerous business with drug dealing now. What are your thoughts on that? Are we doing enough?
Well, see, drugs has been, you know, considered as a threat to national security in this study. You know, the committee has rightfully, you know, considered this as, you know, transnational crime is a big one, and the effect of drugs on society. And the commander was right when he said that. Obviously, right now in Fiji today, the threat to our nation is not about to be invaded or anything. Most of it is non-traditional. It's in cybercrime. Drugs is a big one. Okay. I think it's been let out for too long, and things will take a long time to go back and get it. Okay, I think we're putting the frameworks in places, particularly through the Anti-Narcotics Bureau, trying to contain drug, from the root cause up to investigation, in the middle, trying to prevent it, even prosecuting it. So police are doing their own, they're working very hard. In the meantime, government is also working through our interagency committee on drugs, okay, to work with the rest of civil society. There is a cabinet subcommittee on it. I told you here, Vijay, last time, drug is a social issue. So it just does not pop up like that. It's because of so many, there's so many lackings across the different segments of society that this has popped up as a big issue. This big raid, that we had recently. It is considered to be one of our biggest problems, but the solution is a whole of a nation solution. And that's becoming louder and louder. Police are doing arrest of drugs, almost every day. Every day. And you're talking about small quantum on the street because it's there already. Okay? You have the ratio of one police officer to almost 150 people in Fiji. That tells you the magnitude. When we hope, because these things are becoming more sophisticated. The human element cannot contain it all. We need technology. Okay? We need technology, like the latest technology interface to get into this. We need to work with our partners, particularly in the deep space, out there, containing the drug when they're coming through our borders, the screening of items coming through here, through cargo, drugs that are coming from the States or from Asia. Okay. All these capacities we have to build to be able to contain this problem. And then, at the same time, we talked about how crime has, you said crime has risen. I said, in the community, we've got to take responsibility for ourselves. Don't take the law into your own hand. But yes, I know there's a question of trust, but the police is developing, it's redeveloping. Okay? We're finding out, we are studying ways in which we can use the military effectively also. Okay? We are already using, because the Navy is already out there, surveying, working with our partners, looking at our maritime corridors. Okay? The military is already involved, with powers of the police to arrest and all that. But I think we can still do more, So we're exploring ways on how, because right now we're very traditional, there is a separation of function. But I believe there is a role. I've already spoken to the commander about it at some point, but we've got to look at the legal framework on how best to use it, particularly, on how to contain this drug issue. The Navy is already at it, but we're a heavily land-based force. You're talking about civil military cooperation, going out there, educating the public, and helping them to use this.
Why I'm asking you the question, in the same report, it says that you have to balance off now, rebalance, in terms of we're doing a lot of peacekeeping overseas, and we've got this real threat in our country on whether we need to rebalance. So how quickly can this happen? Well, this is escalating.
Yeah, okay, immediately you have to boost the police, because that's where the authority lies.
You have some police too who are crooked as well.
Well, I have not shied away from that. Okay, I've called them, I think in the last forum, rotten apples. We're weeding them out, When we do the reset, under new leadership, new strategy, okay, I'll be giving very, very, specific directives, policy guidance, to the commissioner with determined outcomes over time that he must achieve. And he's got to get all the help that he will need. And then that should really be the front line, Vijay. And, but every other country also is exploring that avenue because it's deploying the military to use, for law and order issues, particularly a fight against crime, is not something simple. We need to look at how we interface it. We need to protect people. We need to protect the military themselves when they come to do that. We have to look at their powers of arrest. We need to see what is the best way to utilize them,
the most effective and
yeah,
legal way.
because, the way we are, under the traditional law and the traditional role of the military, they're sitting up there in Telenamboa. They only get called in when the blues cannot hack the pressure. But now, it's overwhelmed in a different sense. No one is running over them, but that's, this is what's happening out there in our community. How best can we use them? We need to rewrite the laws. Okay?
And define the rules of engagement.
Yes, and we are looking at that also right now, I'll tell you. But, this is not going to be, we understand what we want to do, but we just got to set the framework in place so that we are okay under the law, that's what we want to do. Because there have been cases in the past, mind you, and it's also in this report, where it has been abused, where they've employed them up front without lawful authority, without proper guidance, without considering the rights of the soldiers who go out there and do it to assist the police. But this time you want to do it right. Yeah.
And definitely, as I said, you need a legal framework for that.
Yeah.
And you need a commissioner appointed.
Please, soon. Yeah.
Are you telling me please or?
Well, I'm making the public appeal. I've always said, everyone, I do not want to be rude.
We'll ask the chair of the Constitutional Officers Commission and the Prime Minister.
Or the member of the commission to come, yeah.
Now, a drug symposium was held here and a narcotic strategy came out of it. Definitely the issue about supply reduction, a real concern, because a lot of questions that came through is saying, we're just seeing the small fish getting caught. And what's happening with the supply reduction strategy?
Yeah, I think during that last seizure, okay, I think they managed to get, the guy they believe in Fiji to be the kingpin. Okay. Someone's just come back recently, so I've already said that, it's of public interest. The police are working on that. We're working on the number of leads that we know. Okay. My instruction to the police is this. If you want to get somebody, make it stick. Make it stick. Because these people who deal in drugs have all the resources. They have all the King's Council and the Queen's Council and everywhere. They know their rights. So when we take them down, we take them down. People, tell stories about this person, that person, that person. Person to tell is the police. If you have a small piece of evidence that will lead to someone's arrest and detainment and prosecution and conviction, please come along and tell us. Please come along and tell us. There's no point in people speculating on the street to say, oh, that guy is doing this, that guy is doing this. Everybody's got a story to tell about somebody,
Drug lords and kingpins.
Yeah, we've raided a couple of places where we think they were, they're false intelligence. We've arrested so many, but we know these are people who are peddling these drugs on the street. Yeah. And then we charge them and we put them in court and we lock them away, So.
Well, I'll talk about, you said the person, I will say, Mr. Ayaz Musa. He's a convicted drug smuggler in New Zealand. Fiji never got him. When further investigations, and when I was asking the Fiji Financial Intelligence Unit, they said prior to 2022, they were sending reports of concern regarding this person. And mysteriously, and nothing happens mysteriously, all of a sudden he cannot be found in Fiji when Interpol was looking for him. And then he's found in New Zealand and he's answered to those charges, he's convicted, and of course he's back in Fiji now. What's different now compared to 2022 when the Fiji Financial Intelligence Unit did the right thing. But the police, I don't know, police didn't do anything because he got away from the country. What will change now that he's back in the country?
Okay.
These are just allegations, but
Yes.
you were saying to do a full assessment again?
No, what I'm saying is that Mr. Ayas Musa, as you have mentioned his name, so I'm going to respond to you, given the names you've suggested, is a person of interest. Is a person of interest. That means a lot of things. That means he's of interest to us in the rule of law, and is exactly as you outlined. Let me assure you, Vijay and our people, that right now the police, and I have no intention of discussing, what the police are doing about it, because that's a police matter right now. I do not want to jeopardize anything. But let me assure you, they are doing something about it. Yeah. But that same instruction that I said earlier, that's what I said. If you want to do it, make it stick.
So the only information that we have stated here is that whatever in terms of this person that we've talked about, he was convicted in New Zealand for smuggling drugs, precursors that make methamphetamine, and he was then sentenced by the Auckland court. He is now back in Fiji, and as the Minister said, continues to be a person of interest. Issue in relation to harm reduction and demand reduction. We had Assistant Minister for Social Protection, Sashi Kiran, saying she's been talking to a lot of people on the ground, and drug overdose. 8 street kids in Nadi alone in the last 2 months. And there's a lot of cases of people dying due to drug overdose, organ failures, etc. This is now getting quite widespread, very concerning. What's the strategy going in?
The Ministry of Health is the lead agency, particularly on rehab, and they're working. I know that they've identified different places where they could use as rehabilitation centers. I've been involved in discussions with 2 institutions, one of which was Drug Free World California. We know that Drug Free World Fiji is doing some great work, out there, particularly in raising awareness and campaign. But this is predominantly in the area where we rehabilitate people like that. And as you said, there are many out there. And I would hope that they move very quickly. This is not. I know it's a budgetary issue as well, and that we will get this rehabilitation center up and running, whichever place that we are going to build it, or we're going to, place that we are going to use. I know they at least two places that we have. That has been suggested that can be used as.
When will that happen?
Well, hopefully soon. And right now, the only place where they are being taken to right now is the CW, to the hospitals, and also to the psychiatric hospital. Both of those are not places where drug rehabilitation is done. We need a dedicated rehabilitation center where people like those can be treated. So that is something definitely government must do moving forward and move quickly. Yeah.
There's a lot of questions being said, and some people are saying that the government is not acting as much as it should. There's a lot of talk.
No, I don't think that is true, Vijay. There's a lot of work going on at the moment. There's a lot of people to deal with also in terms of drug rehab. There's a process within government, on how we get these things up and running through a budgetary process. But I think the more important thing is creating that awareness. We've got to deal with those who are already affected by it. Okay, they are already being affected by it. We want to save as many lives as possible. But the best way to do that is to stop people. And that is what we're doing by way of prevention, through civil society, through the Bono, through the Lotu, Vijay, every Sunday, if you go to these churches, around the Subanosori corridor, if you attend some of those, I've attended one or two, it's at the center, of the message that the pastors, that the taltalas, the priests are preaching. The moral obligations of parents to look after their children, Parents share the responsibility of procreation with God, and that's why parents alone, whether it be a single or both parents, give life to a child, the responsibility to raise it and to make sure that child is raised, in the best values and everything. And that goes on, in Fijian society, we continue to look after each other well after the children attain to legal age of 18. So it just goes to show that this extended responsibility we must always do. Prevention is better than cure, Vijay, but I say, it's taking some time to get the rehab center up, but it's definitely going to come up in time. Yeah.
So what are you saying there, and there's a theme that's coming through, it's come through from many people, is that government cannot do everything. The family unit needs to get stronger, and there's a whole lot of talk about the erosion of values, virtues and values that existed in the past that we have lost over time, even the whole structure. And this is a bigger discussion, no doubt, because it includes education, etc. Yeah. Are you having those discussions?
Yes, we are. We're having it in a very big way. I can tell you, you should listen to some of the places where I speak. And, I remember I went to this cadet pastor parade in Rewa. So I divided up my segment of my speech. First, I spoke to the parents. I spoke to them in the okay. And I gave them the whole thing, So I told them, we're all here because of these beautiful young men and women that are here. Your responsibility is your children. You will take time to look after them, Then you talk to the students, and then you tell them, make wise decisions about life. And the best way anyone from government can tell a student, or any taltala to tell a student, or any leader of civil society, or tell a young person for that matter, say no to drugs. Stay away from drugs. It's not good for you. That has to be the consistent message that must go out. And on top of that, I told you this, during the last interview. Parents, you're listening tonight, if you're not at home, go home. If you're drinking grog someplace else, go home. What are your children doing? Have you got eyes and ears over them? Who's at home with them? A lot of these children who do these things do it without the knowledge of their parents. The parents come looking after them. I mean, you said it, But, we're in Fiji. We're not in halfway around the world, but people don't know each other. You live in your own small home and in your own neighborhood. But here we are, we're supposed to be a nation that practices faith. The Bonua is big. We aspire to the Bonua and the values and civil society. The only thing is you've got to do what we're here for. Government can't do it alone. The police definitely can't do it alone. And we need and we depend. And I've said this. You remember I said this at the opening statement I made at the drug symposium. Government alone can't do it. We can't. Government has to partner with civil society. We need to partner with our partners overseas to look at the drug situation when it's trying to get here. But we all must do our part. I hate the police arresting, children or kids every day and sending off to jail, but it's their job. It's their job. They're here to keep people safe. But at the end of the day, why are they doing it? This is the question we must ask. The bishop asked that question, why? This is a question society must pose to itself. It's not going to go away anytime soon. I'll be very honest with it. We are containing it. We have porous borders. This report says, our border mechanisms are weak. We've got to beef it up. Our GDP is small. We need partners to do it. We are working very hard on it. Hopefully with the police reset, We're going to be able to work with our partners who will feed us with information and resource and technology. We can get our controls better. Stop the drugs out at sea, I said in Auckland, you know. Don't let it come on land. So that, because if you deny the supply, then people will have nothing to sell. But at the end of the day, because it's here, the onus is on parents and society. Parents first. Go out there, stay with your children, look after your children. That's the only way, it's the best way to do it. Tell them to say no to drugs.
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. We'll be back after this break.
करेगा किसी वक्त अभी लो आ गया सुपर सा ब्रश
Not following me
सर
again.
सर सर जनता जानना चाहते हैं सर सर अगर जनता जानना चाहते हैं सर are the rumors true sir
Hopefully. Bye.
sir
यार।
अब आप देख रहे हैं दफ्तर के स्टूडियो में हम भर चुके हैं जेसिका जी जेसिका जनता जानना चाहते हैं जेसिका
Okay.
जनता जानना चाहते हैं कि आप कौन सी मेकअप लगाते हैं
आज मैंने तो कोई मेकअप नहीं लगाया
लगता है लगा ले
How dare you, DEA!
तो आप देख रहे हैं यहाँ एसएन का गाड़ी पड़ा है काफी गर्जी है लेकिन एसएन साहब एसएन सर अमेरिका से आए हुए हैं सर अमेरिका का जनता जानना चाहते हैं सर आप हमेशा काला चश्मा क्यों पहनते हैं सर
तो सफेद चश्मा कहाँ मिली सफेद चश्मा देखा कहीं तुम
तुकता काय को है?
And welcome to Magic Factory. Are you looking for some magic?
Did somebody say
No,
magic?
no.
As I was saying, here at Magic Factory, sorry, we provide just it's just one first guy. I'm shooting one for more. Sorry.
Hola, I'm Marcus and welcome to Magic Factory. Are you looking for something to some more? What is it?
Hi guys. I'm Marcus, the client support.
Hey, you sit after this. I just shoot this promo, please. Bienvenue everyone and welcome to Magic Factory, where we provide you with audio visual from Bosombo. What do you guys want now?
One client is in for recording.
Radio Edo.
A jingle.
Jingle?
Yeah.
Okay, after this then I'll come. But just let me record this man.
Okay, let's go.
Bula everyone and welcome to Magic. So I haven't even started.
Are you even following the script? Come on, plus more.
What's in the script? What's in the script?
No excuses. Last turn. Magic, more magic.
Hi, I'm Marcus and welcome to Magic Factory. For all your audio-visual production needs, you just bring your problems and we'll bring the magic.
Cut.
What now?
You can't put this up.
Why?
It's just too good. Did someone say
No!
Magic Factory for all your visual and audio production needs. Not just call us.
Bula and welcome.
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Our guest tonight is the Minister for Home Affairs and Immigration, Pio Tikoduadua. Mr. Tikoduadua, a UN Office on Drugs and Crime report also came out a few weeks ago. And of course, as you have been saying, that these reports, you like for it to be made public because the picture may not be the best picture that a sitting government would want that people look at, but it's the reality of the situation on the ground. This report again talking about Fiji growing in importance as a regional hub for drug trafficking for all the wrong reasons and an emerging base for transnational organized crime networks. The National Security and Defense report clearly states that as well. It is getting clearer that Nadi is believed to be the primary transit point in the Pacific, and the report reveals that foreign crime syndicates, primarily from Asia and the Americas, are exploiting the Pacific strategic location to traffic illicit drugs. Most of these transported by ships, by sea. We have our own vulnerabilities there. We know we've lost a new ship already, which would have been used for patrolling. So you are looking at our partners to assist in this?
Yes.
Is there some forward movement in there?
Yeah, thank you, Vijay. So I've just come off the back of the South Pacific Defense Ministers meeting in Auckland about 2 weeks ago. And this was at the center of all of our discussions. Okay. The trick is how to stay ahead of everybody, those that deal in these things. Okay. Because they continue to develop, sophisticated ways that develop faster than how we are transforming ourselves and becoming ready. Our laws are archaic. These are already well in front. The way that the means and ways that they deliver drugs has become more sophisticated. The best thing we want is to stop the drugs out at sea. Don't have it come on land. That job, only our partners together with us are able to do that effectively. So through our commitment with Interpol, with the different intelligence agencies of the world, they help us. They give us information that that will help us to prepare for these things before they come over. Because we do not have the capacity to see beyond a certain distance or influence a certain distance. And even for those the reach that we have, within our territorial waters and our exclusive economic zone, we've only got so many boats, as you rightfully said. Okay. But there are more sophisticated ways now that are being developed. This is why technology is so important. Technology out there in the maritime corridor, technology at the border, screening, cargoes coming through. We cannot screen all, okay, but at least we will be able, we've got the few that have come through. Some will definitely get through. There's no doubt about that, because we do not no country does 100% check on everything that comes through. Otherwise, it will never get through. But we need, the important thing is about information and technology and partnership. But, for your question, yes, we are working with our partners, the Americans, sharing information, the Australians, New Zealand, sharing technology. There's going to be some exciting technology coming through, okay? And we will have a better eyes and ears now, okay? And we're very grateful to our partners, who will be helping us to have these capabilities up and ready. Not only for the military, but also not only for the police, but also for the military in our fight against, this transnational organized crime, their syndicates.
Drugs cases are also increasing in schools, and that is very concerning as well. Prime Minister had also said that it may come to a time that you have to conduct bag checks because of now even those vulnerable children are being used to sell drugs. They have become peddlers, and there's quite a few cases now coming up. How are you dealing with that?
We've sent out dogs once, and unfortunately, to schools, high-risk schools, who have asked for the dogs to come. They put in place measures also in the different schools. The Ministry of Education is dealing with that. Okay. The police go there when they're invited. If there is a report, there is a process within the school. If someone gets caught with drugs, there are certain things that they have to do. Okay, all those are in place. That's how people are getting caught. But Vijay, there are some really sick people out there. Some really sick people. Unfortunately, some really sick parents too. Because these kids, they tell everything. And, there should be no mercy for these people. Should be no mercy. But, it just goes back to what I said earlier. If parents are not going to, if parents do not have, the proper moral authority over their children, the courage to talk to their children and teach them and educate them, these things are going to happen. They end up in school, unfortunately. School accepts them at 8 a.m. and finds them with this, The police come in, they investigate it, they arrest the parent or going to arrest the person that gave it to them. And the process continues,
What are the kids saying?
Well, they're saying varying things. They will tell them who gave them the drugs in the first place, and the police go out and look for them. Unfortunately, in some of these cases, parents. And that is sick, That That is just sick. When this happens, this is why we cannot keep our ears to ourselves, particularly if you suspect something in the community, something is happening. If parents are exploiting their children, you must report it, before someone else gets into trouble. I mean, how do you teach a parent how to look after their kid, huh? If the parents at the end of the day teach their children to go sell drugs in school? I mean, what kind of mentality is that, So, we just, it's always very emotional talking about these issues, because you really can't comprehend why it happens. But out there, what we're doing in the schools, Ministry of Education, extensively with police, we will send dogs. We only have got so many dogs that do sniffing. But I want to tell the schools out there, the dogs are ready. If you want them, they can come. We use them for the main events, and we get some.
So police dogs can come to school and conduct checks.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already offered that. It's not a good thing, but if you feel the risk is there, maybe it should be a good thing.
It has to be done. We can't be saying everything is perfect here.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But if you send your child with a drug in the first place, what does that speak of the person? That's the guy that should hang.
There's calls here, and coming back to it, this is in relation to where the police are doing their work. And you, as you said, that, and we're not saying the whole of the force is crooked here. Calls made to you urgently as minister to look into the issue of the blatant selling of drugs, mainly hard drugs, in Nandonumai. They have said that it's day and night, near a roundabout, right at the end, near common driveway on the left. They have contacted police numerous times, and their children, their families are affected by it on a daily basis. All sorts of vehicles are coming through, and they have contacted police numerous times. And it seems like somebody is giving away information, nothing happens. For these kind of cases, just one, and there's others from different areas, what's your message to these people, and will you be having a discussion based on people who send questions of this?
I think that's, what you've given there is a very important piece of information. I'm interested in it. And then the police will have to answer, why they have not been able. There are probably certain reasons why they were not able to respond to it in time. If it's happening all the time, people will start, are already questioning, why police have not responded the way that they want them to do. But what I'm saying today is, if that, in Nandonumai, if that situation still continues, you can reach out to me. Ultimately, the buck stops with me. But on the other hand, part of this police reset that we are doing, one of the big things that we are re-looking at ourselves, re-diagnosing ourselves. We've already started on it. I told you, there's a ratio of one policeman to 100 odd people, and it's worse for vehicles because transport is important. Okay. But at the end of the day, we accept the responsibility for it. But if these cases, persist, I can say here the reset is going to be, the new breath of life into the police, because the instructions are clear about how the commissioner will do his job, okay? And that's not going to be easy, And the second thing is, if these things continue to persist, people should come forward. If they don't trust the police, come to me or come to my office. I'll do something about it.
There's another person, very quickly, just we'll try to ask a few questions here. Person is asking on whether Fiji will opt to use meth alarms which can detect meth in the air.
Okay, interesting. I'll find out. Really for the reason because I'm unfamiliar with it. I know they can detect it in the water, but in the air, I'll be very interested to learn what that is.
Person who sent that question is Mr. Raj Singh. So, Mr. Raj Singh, you can provide more information.
Yeah.
I know
You can give him my number. It's 9904-123.
9904-123.
Just text me.
That's the minister's
Yeah, if you're the
number.
person,
Just
yeah.
get
Tell me about it, yeah.
details on that meth alarm. Immigration reforms. People are raising concerns about delays in getting passports. What is being done about that?
Well, we have enough passports for starters. The demand is overwhelming. Unfortunately, machines, I don't want to keep making excuses for all of that. We have a backlog which we are working at. And, I will continue to call for people's patience. I know I get this call from my cousin today who was like angry at me and swearing at me. I said, yeah, fair enough, that's fine. And, but the system for passports is, please do not come and wait. You apply, leave you apply online. We'll tell you when to come. You might have to wait a little bit for it, but we'll definitely get your passport done. And I know people are complaining, I've got backlog as far back as 6 months, Please come forward and you tell us. For those that have raised their issues, we're working on them. But it's something that we're continually trying to improve. Yeah.
Work permit delays, people are saying causing a havoc for some people. You have found a solution?
Yes, we have. I think we've had we worked very well with the Ministry of Finance, Trade, and the Economic Research Committee with the private sector. We have now a whole lot new range of new initiatives that we are putting through. Things like preferred employers, countries where they can get laborers from very quickly. Okay. The feedback to me, this has significantly improved. Okay. Some people, unfortunately, if you bring someone who does not fit the bill, say if you bring someone from a country like Bangladesh, and I get this problem all the time, and if the authorities feel or know that these persons are not what who say they are, we will say no. We will say no. If they fit the bill and your paperwork is right, we give it to you. We understand that our businesses need skilled labor. They need skilled labor. And that is what we are giving them in the different sectors, in the hotel industry, in constructions. I'm not hearing anything right now, but there are others who want to employ certain people. What I'm going to tell those employers, all you need to do is make sure that the people you bring fit the bill. If they don't fit the bill, unfortunately, we're not going to say yes. We can't say yes, because there are other, implications in place. Yeah. But some of them obviously, cannot accept a no. But we're ready to talk about it. My office is ready to talk about it.
So if people do feel that they have made an application, it's taken a long time, who do they go to?
Well, first they should contact the immigration department, call the director. Her name is Amelia, and her number is 9905-188, I think.
9905-188, the number for the Director of Immigration.
Yeah, and she will tell you,
the processes and to ensure that
it's all there also, The system has got all the information requirement that any employer who wants to bring foreign labor to come to work, the conditions that they are to meet.
Minister Tikoduadua, thank you very much for your time. I know you have addressed a number of issues. A lot of questions always come through. You're dealing with Home Affairs and Immigration. There's a lot of issues in terms of security agencies, and that includes the police, the military, and then on top of that, you've got a major strategy that you're looking at, how to implement that. You have the police reset that you're looking at. You're doing a lot of work with RFMF. Then on top of that, you're looking at immigration. You have a major issue, as you said, a national security issue in drugs, and on top of that, other organized crime. Before we finish off, any comments for the people out there?
Well, first of all, thank you, Vijay, for this opportunity. Always happy to come back and face you on the camera. First of all, I would like to just say thank you. I want to thank, our security agencies. First of all, I would like to thank the acting police commissioner and all of the police force. I would like to thank the commander, the RFMF, the Director of Immigration, and our border control agencies, whether it's FRCS, whether it's biosecurity. We understand they work against the conditions to try and keep Fiji safe, and I just want to assure them today we appreciate, I speak on all of our behalf. Things actually do get through, and we get pointed for that, pointed at for it, but our work is to continue. The important thing is to continue to remain professional, and I want to thank them for that. Not only them, but their families, in the work that they do. And, we're here to keep Fiji safe. We're here to keep Fiji safe, and I want to thank you for your dedication. On top of that, I would like to also thank the people listening in tonight. Very high expectations, I acknowledge that. We do our best to try and, within the time and the limitations of the resources that we have, to meet our missions and what government, has bestowed upon me and the responsibility that my ministry would do. And we will continue to do our best. And I would like to thank people for their patience. We continue to try to make things better. You talked about all the new initiatives. We're not for instant solution. We want something that will last into the future. I live in 18 months, there is something else that my success is going to pick up. That's the point. It is sustainable for Fiji, and it is something that gives us something to work at into the future. But I would just like to end, on this big issue of drugs. And out there again, if you know someone that's dealing in drugs, report that person to the police. If you don't trust the police, then you come and tell me. To our children and our youth, those who suffer the most from this, this evil that's hitting our nation and our society and our people, say no. That's the best thing you can do. Say no to drugs. And to you, the parents, do your job. Do your job as a parent. Look after your children. And for the society at large, let's all come together. Let's all come together to look after one another and then to prevent this great scourge that's upon us. It can be done, but we need all of us to work together. Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you, and that's the show for tonight. Until next week, have a great evening.